will you do me the honor of being my life partner? Please give me some time to think about it.
Okay, in this tutorial, I'm going to guide you step by step on how you can edit your video using Capcut. Okay, so I will enjoin you to watch this video to the very end. While editing your videos with Capcut, there are several ways to go about it, depending on how you want your video to come out. Okay, now let me say this. If you have more than one device, if you have more than one phone, it's also an additional advantage. However, if you have just one, you have to make do with what you have. You must not have two devices before you do this. So if you have just one, I'm going to tell you how to go about it. If you have two phones, I'm also going to tell you how to go about it. So either ways, you can still edit your work and it will come out well. Now, the purpose of this video is not to talk about how to generate images. That's not what I'm here for in this particular tutorial. It's not how to go about generating images and all of that. That's not what this video is all about. The essence of this video, the essence of this tutorial is to guide you on how you can edit your video using Capcut. So we are going to get straight to it. Now, let me say something. If you notice, in this Capcut, the first scene that played out here happens to be a video. It's not just an image. It's an animated image that now played as a video. Okay, now the reason for this is to capture attention, because you don't want your video to be boring even from start. No, you don't want to upload a video that is boring from. You have to capture the minds of your audience. So it's a mind capturing strategy. So normally what you want to do is to shake your script, find out all through your script where is that particular scene that has a kind of action. Okay, action not in the sense that it must be a physical action, but that place that is captivating, that is more captivating. So you want to play it first. At the end of the day, this is not actually the first scene of this story, but it has to come in so that people or your audience will be looking forward to that scene as the video progresses. Okay, so it's a strategy. It's a strategy to get the attention of your audience. I'm not saying you must do it this way. I'm saying that it is one of the strategies to get attention of your audience. So you want to go through your script. You may have series of scenes that has actions like this, but then you have to use maybe one of them, the most striking, so that people are now looking forward. As they are now going through the video, they are looking forward to that point. Sometimes it may even be the last scene. It may even be the second to the last scene. It may be the third to the last scene. Okay, so you want to project it first, so that, and then I will always encourage you to animate that particular scene. Animate it so that the characters will really say something. You must not be doing it in all your videos, okay? But just bear it in mind that this is one of the strategies to getting attention of your audience. Okay, so but I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay, now before now you would have gotten your script. As you know, your script would have been ready by now. Before you even start talking of Capcut, you would have gotten your script, edited your script, generated your images and all of that, depending on how many scenes you have in that story. Sometimes your scene you may have 10 scenes, it may be 20, it may be 30 scenes, as the case may be. Now, you would have also generated the voiceover. Of course, it is with the script. You will use the script to generate your voiceover. Okay? You use the script to generate voiceover. So, If you have done all of this, now you can start talking about how to go about this one. So, but these are the simple things you are supposed to do. Personally, for voiceover, personally, I use aistudio.google.com. Personally, that's the site I use. So if you get to that site, you will see series of voices. Then you are now at liberty to choose the one you want. aistudio.google.com. So personally, I prefer it to 11 Labs. Personally. So without wasting time, let's get into this. Now let me say something before we also continue. If you have two devices, like I mentioned earlier, one of the ways to go about it is this. As you are editing with one device, you are using the other one to go through the script, because at the end of the day, as your movie is going on, or rather as the story is going on, the images that are being displayed must follow the voice over. You get it now? So it will not be okay that the voiceover is saying something, the image that is being projected is saying something else, is portraying something else. So everything has to be in sync. Okay? Everything has to be in sync. That is one of the things that makes your story very, very engaging. If there is no synchronization in this effect, then your story will be boring, it will be tiring. Nobody will like to watch your story again or watch your video again. So what you will do is this. If, for instance, you have just one device, I will recommend that there are two things you can do. One, for each scene, let's say you have a video, that your video or your story has, like, let me just say 10 scenes. Let's just say 10 scenes. What I will advise is this. Get a pen, get a paper, okay? For each scene, let's say scene one, the last 3 words in scene 1, just write it down. Just write scene 1 in that paper or that book. Then let's take, for instance, for this particular story now, the last 3 words in scene 1 says, or rather the last 4 says, gentlest hands can bleed. So you just write gentlest hands can bleed. Why are you writing? So that as you are going through, or rather as you are working with Capcut, the moment you hear gentlest hands can bleed, you pause. This is pause. You just pause it. So once you pause it like this, you take note of where it stopped. Let's say, let me just play this for instance now. As it's going now, if that last 4 words says gentlest hands can bleed, if it actually stopped here, I will pause. So the moment I pause, I will shake. Okay, 0007. This is where it stopped. So it stopped almost at after 7. So you write it down. That's the way I normally do it. You write it down so that you don't make mistake. If you don't get all these numbers you are seeing here, there's a reason for all these numbers, because it will now guide you to know where to pause at a point, so that the next scene or the next image will follow the narrator's voice. That's the voiceover. Okay, so let's do a little practical so that you'll understand. But if you have 2 phones, as the voiceover is narrating, then you can use the other phone to be shaking. So, but I want us to do a practical so that this will not look like some jargon. So let's just do this again. So once you get to Capcut, the first thing you want to do is to add the images, including the animated one. So the first thing I have here is the animated. So I'm going to bring in that animated. This is the animated image. So I'm going to bring it. So I'm not going to do for all this so that this video will not be too long. I'm just going to select some images here. Or let's just be going wherever we stop, we stop. Okay, so I've selected, I'm now going to click add. So this is now Capcut. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is this. I've already added the images I'll be working with. including the animated one. That's the first one. So, and I've already explained why I have to animate the first image I'm projecting here. It's just to grab attention and to make your audience want to know exactly what happened. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is for the audio. As you can see, this is a video. This is a video. Now just wait, you will observe something now. You see that the volume is not loud enough. So what you want to do, because this is a video, you will click on that particular image. Of course, it has been animated. Then you look for volume. Then increase the volume so that the volume will be loud enough. You can see now that the volume is loud enough. Now I'm playing it again now.
Will you do me the honor of being my life partner? Please give me some time to think about it.
You see now. So once you increase the volume, you click on that good sign. Okay? Once you increase the volume, so that the volume will be loud enough. So having said that, the next thing you want to do is now to introduce the voiceover. Of course, after generating it with that tool I told you about, that's aistudio.google.com. After generating your voiceover, then you have to download it. It will enter inside your music gallery, just the same way you have your music, your songs, and all of that. So the next thing I want to do now is to now bring in that downloaded voiceover. So, but please take note of this, because sometimes some persons are very confused on what to do here. I will not start from this point. You see, I will not start from this point. No. You see this thing that looks like 1? Okay, I'm not going to start here. Because if I start the voiceover, if I bring it here, it will interrupt this conversation. It will interrupt it. Okay, so what I want to do is that I'm going to shift it. I'm going to bring it to this very point, because this is where the real story starts from. I'm going to bring it here, position it here. Okay. So once I position it here, I will now start any other thing I want to do. So what I want to do now is that I'm going to click on audio. This is audio. Click on audio. Click, this is sound. You click sound. Then I will click here. Then the next thing to do is to click on device. This is device. Then I will now get the voice over that. Let me find it, okay? Play it so that you'll be sure. Don't just, because you can see series of downloads here, so that you'll be sure of the one you're using. So the voiceover that rhymes with the image. So I'm going to click on this one.
Dawn crept softly over Independence layout.
Okay, this is actually what I'm looking for. So, I brought in the voiceover. Now, the next thing I want to do immediately, so that you don't forget, I always say do this so that you don't forget. So once the voiceover is here now, I'll click on it. Then increase the volume. Tap volume. Drag it to
Dawn
the end.
crept softly
Then
over Independence layout.
Okay. Now, please pay attention. If you don't follow this step by step, you'll be confused. Had it been that I started this from here now, what will happen is that as these people are having this conversation, the voiceover is also narrating. It will interrupt it. Let me show you. Let me quickly do that so you understand what I'm saying. Let me delete this and bring it here. If I have started here now, this thing here now, then click here, device, so that you'll understand what I'm trying to say.
Dawn crept.
Now, if I have started here now, then let's say I will also increase the volume.
Dawn crept softly
Now,
over
you see,
Independence layout.
I can't even hear what these people are saying
the red
again.
earth roads with warm streaks of gold. The city stirred awake
So you see,
to the familiar
it doesn't
symphony of
add up
morning.
well.
Tricycles buzzing in the
You
distance.
see now, so I don't want to bring it here so that it doesn't interrupt this conversation. So that's the reason I did it that way. So let me come back and continue. So this is where it's supposed to be. However, there are times if you don't have a scene like this as a startup scene, that's captivating startup scene that is animated just like this. maybe the actual story started here. If this is not here now, if this particular scene is not here, then I would have just started the narration from the first line. Okay, it's because of this particular conversation. That's why I'm starting here, because this is where the real story starts. Okay, so the next thing you want to do, of course, I've talked about increasing the volume. The next thing you want to do now is to play it. Now, as you are playing, take note of the scene. This is scene 1. Okay, so I want the voiceover to narrate what happened here. Exactly what happened here. Okay, so I have to take note. That's why if you are doing this thing, if you are editing your video on Capcut, you must shun every distraction, because if you are distracted, your video will not come out well. So you must not be distracted at all. You must not be distracted. So watch what I'm going to do now. So this particular scene that you are looking at now, the last word here, or rather the last 4 words here says, gentlest hands can bleed. So the moment I hear gentlest hands can bleed, I will click pause. So let's play it now. Let's get started.
Dawn crept softly over Independence layout, brushing the red earth roads with warm streaks of gold. The city stirred awake to the familiar symphony of morning, tricycles buzzing in the distance, oil sizzling in roadside pans, and the irresistible scent of freshly fried bean cake floating through the air. It felt like any other morning, calm, routine, unremarkable. Yet beneath that quiet normalcy lay the first page of a story destined to change lives forever. At the center of it all was Grace. At 26, Grace was already a fixture of the neighborhood. She stood inside her small tailoring shop, pushing open the wooden shutters to welcome the day. The space was modest but spotless, every fabric neatly folded, every tool carefully placed. Her mother had named her Grace with a prayer that her daughter would grow into quiet strength and gentle compassion. Over the years, the street had come to agree she had succeeded. Grace was the one who showed up when others looked away, the one who gave even when she had little to spare. Her kindness was never loud or dramatic. It was steady, stitched into her daily life, as natural as the work of her hands. She paused at the doorway, inhaling the cool morning air, and allowed herself a small smile. To Grace, kindness was like needle and thread, simple, precise, and powerful enough to mend what life had torn apart. What she did not yet know was this: some threads cut as deeply as they heal, and before the day was done, Grace would learn that even the gentlest hands can bleed.
So did you notice that the moment I had even the gentlest hands can bleed, the moment I had bleed, I paused. Okay? I had to pause. Now what I'm going to do now, it actually stopped at 02. This is 02:15, almost 02:15 and a half, because that's the way I normally do it. Excuse me. 02:15. So what I'm going to do is that if you are not using 2 phones, you may want to just write this number, write it down, write scene 1. Beside it, you now write this 02:15 and a half, something like that. You just write it down. Now, the reason you did this is because you are going to drag this particular image to that 02:15 and a half. So I'm going to click on it. If I click on it, I'm going to drag it from here. I'm going to keep dragging it. I'm going to keep dragging it till I get to that point. Okay? I'm going to keep dragging it. I'll keep dragging it. I'll keep dragging it until I get to that point, that 02:15. So that's how you're going to be doing it, depending on the length of your video. That's how you're going to do it for all the scenes. So that's why I say you don't need any. So 02:15, I'm going to stop here. So I'm going to stop exactly here. So this way I'm going to stop. Okay? So if the next thing I want to do now is that I'm going to bring in the next voiceover. Okay? So let me bring in because this particular voiceover you just had now is only for scene 1. So I'm going to bring another voiceover. So this voiceover actually, the next one I'm going to bring in actually covers from scene 2 to scene 5. It depends on how you want to do your, if you want to get your voiceover scene by scene, then for scene 1 you get the voiceover, for scene 2 you get the voiceover and download. Scene 3, you can do it that way. But for me, I don't normally do it that way all the time. Okay, but if you want to do it that way, there are different ways to do these things. There's no one particular way. You get it? So what I want to do now is this. Please, after listening to this video, after going through this video, if you still need any assistance, do well to reach out to me. Do well to reach out to me. Okay? Do well to reach out to me via my email or via the comment. Drop a comment. Let me know where you need assistance. Then we'll take it off from there. Okay? So what I want to do now is that I've already stretched that particular image up to this point. Okay? So this is what we are going to keep doing. So what I want to do now is to bring in the next voice. Just following the same procedure. Okay, so this is...
Behind her sewing machine,
okay.
Grace.
So I've added the next voice. So you have to play it in that music gallery to be sure that's what you actually need, so that you don't get it wrong. So I've brought in the next voice. I'm going to increase the volume like I did earlier. I'm going to increase
Behind her sewing machine,
you see now?
Grace began her...
Okay, so what I want to do now is that, so this is what you're going to keep doing, just with this same procedure for this scene 1. That's what you're going to do. So if I play this, if I should continue from this scene 2 now to play it, remember I said something, that this voiceover actually covers for scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, and scene 5. So this voiceover covers 4 different scenes. So my assignment is to play it as
Behind her sewing machine, Grace began her day.
Now, as the voiceover is narrating, I will keep my eyes on the script if I have another phone. If you don't have another phone, take note or write down the last 4 words or the last 5 words of that next scene, so that once you hear the last word, you pause here. Take the number like I did earlier. Then this is what you are going to keep doing to the very end. I don't want to make this video very long. So this is what you're going to be doing to the to the last. Okay, so if I play this one again, I'm going to listen till I hear the last word of scene 2. I'll pause it, take note. Okay, so what you want to do is that if you do it for the first scene, take note. Let's say the first scene stopped at 02:15.5. All you need to do, just, let's say that this video has 15 scenes. What I would advise, if you don't have another device, you may just get a pen and paper, or your book and your paper. Your book and your pen, rather. Write scene 1 to 10, assuming your script has 10 scenes. Write scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4 to scene 10. Then you play the first scene. Wherever the first scene ends, let's say this 02:15, right beside scene 1, you write 02:15. Then play it again, it will continue. Where scene 2 stopped, where the voice should end, you take note of it again. So that when you get to the last scene and take note of the number of the last scene, you will now come back and start dragging it one by one. So we have gotten for scene 1. Let's just assume that scene 2, this is scene 2. Let's assume that this scene 2 actually stopped at... let me confirm something first. Okay, let's assume that scene 2 actually stopped at... I'm not very certain, but just for the sake of this tutorial, let's say it stopped at 02:26. So what I'm going to still do is to drag it from here to 02:26. This is 02:26. 02:26. I'll stop here. Okay, this is the next one. Wherever it stopped, I will still drag it like that. Let's say it stopped at 02:35.5, like this. You stop here. Okay, so this is what you keep doing until you get to the last. Now, once you've done that, the next thing you want to do is to give some transitions. Okay, some transitionary effect. So let's say for this one now, if I click on it, I will click animation. Then it's left for you to choose the particular style you want to use. You have in, you have out, you have combo. You can make use of combo. Okay, so let me just select anyone. Okay, let me select anyone. Now I want to select this particular one.
Dawn crept softly over Independence layout. Dawn crept softly over Independence layout, brushing the red
if I'm selecting
earth
this, all I
roads
need
with
to do is
warm
just to
streaks
click.
of gold. The city
So I've
stirred
selected that
awake.
one. Now let me say something. You know, sometimes if you are not using Capcut Pro, if you are not using the Pro version, please be careful of the particular transitionary effect you are using. So all these ones that have something like crown, these are for Pro users. So you may just want to avoid those ones and use the free transitionary effects. But for these ones that has something like crown on top of it, all these ones. So, but there are ones you can use so that it doesn't affect you. Because sometimes after using all these things, when you want to export, they will not allow you to export. Okay, that's one of the drawbacks of using the ordinary version. But however, it is preventable because what you have to do is just to select from the free transitions. So, having said that, once you are done with all of these, okay, the next thing you want to do is to click export. This is export. Okay, and that is it. You export your video. Okay, so I want to believe you've really obtained value. If that's the case, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, share, so that other persons can benefit from videos like this. If you have anything to say, if you have a comment, please drop it at the comment section. I'm going to revert back to you. Do well to follow us, like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next one.